Welcome to the General's Gentleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ashes of the Singularity. Today I'll be doing a introductory video where I'll be explaining how this game works, talking about what the units do, what the players will generally be thinking about as they're playing, just so you can understand what it is. If you've seen our ads that are playing on our videos and you've been interested in what it actually involves and want to see for yourself. So pretty exciting stuff for me because I'm actually now working for Stardock, working on this game, doing design consultancy, where I essentially give a lot of feedback and critique regarding how to improve the game. Things such as like accessibility, making the tooltips better, things like menu navigation and multiplayer balance even. So I'll be definitely spending a lot of time with this game over the next year. And I'll be doing some more content for it, like shoutcasts and such, once we get replay support, which will be happening pretty soon. So yeah, if you have me on Steam, you probably see me playing this game a lot. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where I can take it and where it'll go. So the first things first, the game that it's the most similar to is Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. So if you've ever played Supreme Commander, or at least you know what the concept is, then you will see a lot of similarities in terms of the way that the economy works, the way that kind of like the scale of the game is. So if you have played Supreme Commander, then and you liked it, then I recommend you check this game out. Otherwise, it is a very different scale. So it's kind of like the complete opposite end of the scale to other RTS games like Company of Heroes and Command and Conquer Generals, which are a very small scale, and this is the big. So it's less about micro and it's more about overall production and economy, and trying to manage your allocation of forces around the map, trying to counter your opponent's composition. It's probably the biggest difference between Ashes and Supreme Commander, is that it actually has like a hard counter system. So you'll have your three tiers of units, but in between them you actually have like anti-cruiser frigates, you'll have anti-frigate cruisers and anti-air and so forth. With Supreme Commander, you don't have that. You just have like tier 2 tanks and tier 2 tanks, and that's all they do, is they're just tanks. So that's one of the strengths, I think, is there really is a lot of emphasis on really thinking about your composition of units and reacting it to what your opponent has on the field, and how that is affected by your economy, since there's two main resources, and then there's the utility / support resource. So I'll start there. I didn't particularly plan a lot for this video, so hopefully it won't be too incoherent, but yeah, the main thing I'll start with is the economy. So you have the metals, that's the top one that the mouse is hovered over, and that is represented by the circles on the map. So you'll have like, these are metal extractors. This is like a metal node that has 3 extractors on them, and then you build the metal extractor on the metal deposit. I think I was saying extractor. Yeah, you build the metal extractor on the metal deposit, but to do that you have to capture the point, and the points are like connected, so you can kind of cut them off like in Company of Heroes. So it gets a bit tactical, the positioning of your units. And then you have the radioactives, which is the second main resource. That's represented by the triangles, these ones here. So I hope you like geometry. And so again, you capture the node, or the generator, I suppose it's called. You capture the node, you build the radioactives extractor on it, and then that gives you income. You do get a little bit of income just from having the node captured, but you get a lot more from actually building the extractor. And then like this is I think a metal node here, but it doesn't actually give you a lot of income because there's no deposits to build an extractor on. But you still get some, so it's worth capturing it, and you need to anyway because it connects the territory. So I guess it's even like a cutoff for the radioactives on the side here. And then the other main resource, the support resource that I mentioned earlier, is Quanta, which is the plural of quantum. I didn't actually know that until this game. So you build quantum relays, and they give you quanta income. And quanta isn't used for units like the other two. It's used for a few different things. So you have, first your population cap is logistics. That's increased by Quanta upgrades. But then also you have like storage, you'll have weapon damage, radar range. So there's a few global upgrades. And then you also have these orbitals. And these orbitals are a bunch of different abilities, sort of like the General's powers in Command & Conquer Generals, if you've played that. So you'll have like a scanner sweep, you'll have a turret, it increases your production, you can increase a unit's armor or give an economy boost to a certain point. And then you have your offensive powers. You'll have like a orbital strike, you'll have an EMP pulse, you'll have quite a different things like that. So getting your quantum relays is pretty important, but they do cost, to build the quantum relays, it actually costs you a fair bit of radioactives. So it's not something that you can rush out super fast, or at least a lot of them, and you have to try and not over invest in them. A lot of players seem to over invest in quantum relays. So that is the economy side of things. Did I mention the Turinium? I don't think I did. No, Turinium is like the victory points in Company of Heroes. So you capture this, gives you a bit of income, but mainly it gives you your Turinium, which is if you get enough, you win. So yeah. Right, so I'm going to be just playing versus an AI. This is like a pretty easy AI, so this shouldn't take long. I didn't want to make this a long video. I just wanted to make this an explanation, if nothing else. So to start off with, what you want to do, I will be doing a proper like multiplayer tutorial where I really go into depth, but for now I'll just kind of be going through and explaining things. So you have one engineer to start off with. You want to build another one from your Nexus, your HQ, and so with the nodes or the points, they actually spawn creeps, and those creeps must be killed before you can capture the point. However, the creeps don't spawn until a minute or whatever it is, so you can actually capture 2 points before they spawn, depending on what map it is. Some maps you can only capture 1 point before they spawn. That's like if the resource points are actually a bit further away. This is also in the balance beta, so the build time is a little bit longer for the engineers. So it makes it a bit harder on some maps. So yeah, I'll send the engineer out, I build one for my Nexus, and we'll go from there. Go for this point here. Yeah. So hopefully I can get this in time. I know you definitely can in the retail game, but in the balance beta, you probably still can. It would be embarrassing if I messed this up already. Yeah, and so you see that the red pupil beam, that's the engineer capturing the point. And then so once I get these points, then I'll get some extractors, and I'll get a factory as well. So I don't want to build my extractor on my radioactives. Radioactives isn't this important so early on. I really want to get my metal extractors down. That's the most important thing. I think I'll get this one. Yeah, sweet. Here we go. So now I've got 3 points already. It's pretty important to get those points. A lot of new players just go straight for building factories and getting these points like you would do in Supreme Commander. But I mean, the problem with that is obviously then it takes ages once the creeps spawn, but also because you have a pretty low storage as PHC, one of the factions. The other fact doesn't have storage. Means that if you build all your tractors too early on, you actually just run into your max supply cap. Okay, so I'm pausing the game. I'm going to explain the factory units. So in the factory, I've got my Hermes, which is a scout unit. I've got Archer, which is like a high damage but quite a fragile unit. Brute, which is a low damage but quite durable. And you've got a Medic. And the Medic obviously heals things. So you want to mix in units. You want to have Brutes and Archers. So you have, the tank up the front and the damage dealer on the back. And there's an ability called Form Army, which is not like a control group. It's where it automatically assigns a formation, and it puts the archer in the back, for example. But it also then does it in a way that you can control the army just by selecting anything in that army. So you don't have to use control groups. You still can, of course, but it just does it for you essentially. It makes the selection easier. Okay, so now let's get a armory. Armory is my tier 2 factory. For tier 2, I've got Zeus, which is an anti-frigate cruiser. Frigate's tier 1, cruiser's tier 2. Dreadnought's tier 3. Athena is the anti-cruiser. Apollo's anti-air. Artemis is like anti-building artillery. And Nemesis is anti-dreadnought. which is the tier 3. Actually, what I normally do is boost the production of the factory. Now I'll get my extractors. Yeah, so when I form the army, it'll get the good formation of them, and I'll go capture these points.
Insufficient radioactives.
I could also get another factory. And then, yeah, I want to just keep getting more factories, keep getting more points, more extractors, grow my economy, grow my troops. And you also... I'll just pause again. So you've got your Dreadnought facility. I keep hitting pause production rather than the pause game. Your Dreadnought facility, that gives you got 3 Dreadnoughts, which are like super big units. I don't really need to show you those, but for PHC you have like a massive siege cruiser, you'll have a Dreadnought assassin that is good versus other Dreadnoughts, and you'll have just like an area control unit that's good versus a lot of units. Your Sky Factory, yeah, I should be one of those. Not this early on, but like you have like a, you know, interceptor, bomber, and a scout unit, pretty self-explanatory. Base defenses, you have a few different types. You've got ones that are like good versus you know, like artillery, you've got anti-cruisers, you've got general multi-purpose turrets, you've got anti-air. The orbitals, with these orbitals, you have to build the structures, which then unlock certain units, and they also then unlock like certain orbital abilities. So you have to think a lot about what you want to go for. You know, do you want to invest in the particular unit? Do you want to invest in a particular like orbital ability? And the important thing is you want to avoid floating up resources. So you want to make sure you're just always spending, because if you go into if you max out your supply, your storage, then you're basically just losing money. You're not gaining anything. So that's one of the main things in this game, at least for PHC, is just keep spending. But you don't want to overdo it, because when you're in negative, it just means that your production is slowed down. So things aren't building properly because there's not enough income for it. So yeah, I'll close this game out. Shouldn't take too long. I think that's all the main explanation. That's still pretty vague, but yeah, I'll do some more specific videos. Has the strategic zoom, like Spring Commander. A very neat feature. Didn't originally have that when it launched. Oh, actually, what I really need as well, I need to get a quantum relay. Forgot about that. Because your quantum relay gives you the thing for your pop cap, which is very important. You start off with a bit of quanta, so you can upgrade your pop cap level 1. As my engineer. Yeah, I've been like half thinking about talking and not properly thinking about playing. I'm like, I think rank 11 at the moment, so like I'm pretty decent at the game. But probably doesn't look like it in this match for anyone that's actually played it. Yeah, so the best way to spend radioactives is quantum relays and air units. Cruisers and frigates in general are very metal heavy compared to radioactives. This map was also a bit weird because normally you'll have like the metal extractors, metal deposits closer, so you can get more metal income earlier on, which I did on this map. The maps have different kind of resource layouts. Okay, that quantum relay's done. An idle factory. I'll get an air factory just to show you what that looks like.
Not enough metal.
Oh yeah, you can also, something I didn't mention, very, very important, you can build your amplifier that doubles the income of a certain of a certain node. So it's very important to get your amplifiers pretty early on, but not too early on. And refinery is kind of similar. Refinery gives you more income in a certain area. So as the game draws out, not only are you getting logistics and PopCap, not only are you getting more income just because you have more points, but also you're investing in your amplifiers, you're investing in your refineries. So you get economy a lot faster. You can then go for dreadnoughts, because dreadnoughts you don't get until generally pretty late game. Even in a lot of 1v1s you don't even get them. Okay, so my army here is pretty small. This is Substrate, the other faction. The units are sort of similar. They are asymmetric to an extent, more than Supreme Commander is at least. Probably the frigates are very different, but the cruisers are mostly the same. Actually, I don't want to win this. Never mind. I got the medics. Medics are very strong. PHC doesn't get a medic equivalent in tier 1. They get a tier 2 medic unit. Yes, you're right now. See, I'm floating up radioactives, which is just bad because it's just wasted money essentially. Let's get an amplifier. I will post some gameplay videos, but I won't post gameplay me versus AI, obviously. Like, I'll post actual multiplayer games. And I've actually recorded a fair bit. I just haven't... I wasn't, like, commentating while I was playing. So, what I might do is, like, look through some of my recordings, find the best games, and then give some commentary about it. There's these turrets here. I should actually get some Artemises. Artemises are the artillery unit. Annihilator cannon. Oh, you didn't finish building it. Defenses are actually pretty strong in this, but they get countered pretty hard. Oh, he's got anti-air as well. It's only an Annihilator. I can probably just kill this head on. That's like the low tier. You can actually upgrade your defenses and they get very strong. Yeah, easy. So, putting an amplifier here, that's good. We're also putting another quantum relay. I want to get my power regulator because that allows me to use amplify, very strong ability which boosts the income of a amplifier. It's called amplify, boosts an amplifier. So I should just get everything Artemises now. Get rid of these Athenas. You only have 2 armories anyway though. Yeah, easy. And I can call down like turrets and such. There we go. Emergency turret. That's all I really have access to at the moment. Oh, I should take out this anti-air. So I have this unlocked now. So yeah, that is a brief look at Ashes of the Singularity. It is Escalation, is the expansion, which added in a lot of extra units and mechanics and such. Even like, again, like Strategic Zoom, this wasn't originally in the game. And then Escalation implemented that and a bunch of other things based off a lot of feedback. Kind of made the game a bit more Supreme Commander-like, which is a good thing because I love Supreme Commander. I won a tournament last weekend at this LAN event called RF LAN, and I won this. I won the mouse was Supreme Commander, and I'm using a keyboard which was from a tournament. So if anyone's like, "Oh, this is rip-off of Supreme Commander," I'm like, "Yeah, what's the problem? I love that game." I wish more games were like similar. There was actually there was Planetary Annihilation. I actually never played that. I didn't hear good things about it when it came out, so I kind of lost interest. But I remember being really hyped for it when I was hearing about Kickstarter and such. I heard the expansion was good. I think it was called Titans, but yeah, admittedly I haven't bothered with Planetary Annihilation. Like, maybe I will one day. I think for me, one of the things that I really didn't like about the game, like even without playing it, is the art style. Yeah, it had this like cartoony art style, and I get it in games like StarCraft or like League of Legends where it's trying to be like the priority is clarity, especially because those games are so competitive. But for something like Supreme Commander, like that style of games, I don't see why cartooning is a thing. Like a lot of the appeal of these games is just the epic scale. I mean, this was obviously a pretty short AI game, so there wasn't a lot of units involved. But in longer games, especially in team games, you get incredibly huge amounts of units on the screen, and it's really quite epic, and it looks beautiful. But when you have like this cartoony art style, like I really don't get that. I think it kind of contradicts a lot of the appeal of the genre. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent about the game. If anyone wants to play with me, feel free to add me on Steam and get some matches in. I'm definitely keen to play more of like the balance beta. Not a lot of people play it, just some people on my Steam. Because it's like balance, but you have to opt in. It's like under like Steam betas, you have to like download it, and so I have to kind of harass people to be like, hey, come play the beta. Because since I'm going to be working on the balance, and I kind of already started, need to get some more games in and really try and get the stats down. So yeah, hopefully you found that interesting. If you're interested in seeing what Ashes of the Singularity looks like, what more can I say, really? Yeah, if you like the looks of it, then pick it up and add me on Steam. We'll play some games if you like. And we'll be making more tutorials and such. Like I may even be making like proper tutorials that go into the game rather than just videos. But we'll see. Yeah, there's a lot in store for me and for this game moving forward. So it's pretty cool, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity that Stardock is giving me with. It's kind of been my dream to work on RTS games for a long time, and I'm technically doing it. Like I'm not like a programmer who is coding the game. I'm more just kind of giving my critique and having some say on the direction of the game moving forward. So yeah, thanks for watching.